had a full meltdown this afternoon, Shelley. And the F1 TV strongly contributed to it, although it was not the only piece of what was happening.
I assumed. I feel bad. I
How
did.
could you do this? Well, it's
Well,
not you, it's F1 TV.
no, but I think it is like
But
whoever
Shelley
gets to
was
it first.
silently
I
watching
was
the race.
Shelley was like, I'm not going to respond to Grace's breakdown.
No, I think it's fully like whoever gets there first gets the
Well, because
piece.
I will say I'm very
It's the
confused because
piece.
F1 TV used to really like sell themselves as like, oh, this is such a great service because you can have it on 6 devices. So you can watch on one and have like your favorite driver on another device and this on another device. But I'm reading people online saying that's what's happening. Is there like you can only stream on one device? I'm like, what is the purpose of that?
Yeah, that's crazy. This is
That's crazy.
I can't believe they're doing this while they're losing viewership. Like they need to keep us.
Someone needs to write
I
a
was,
white lady email to F1 TV.
but I will admit that I was very close to being like, it's time to upgrade the prescription.
The prescription. I need to
For my
increase my
mental
prescription
health.
I need
for
to
my
increase
F1
my
meds.
prescription.
This meeting of the Wheel Girl Club is now in session. I'm Sarah
I'm Shelley.
And I'm Grace. Let's race
in Montreal.
in Montreal.
We should do some highlights or recaps from when we went to Montreal for the race last
Aw.
year.
Watching this just made me wish I was there.
They had nice weather.
I know.
We
They
were
had
there
great weather.
when it was hailing onto our heads last
Onto
year.
our heads.
Concussions.
Onto my head.
It was, yeah, it
You were
looked so
huge.
nice this year. Every time they showed the grandstand at the end of the hairpin,
I was like,
thought, that's where we were.
The
Yes.
top row.
It would
That
have
was
been really
us.
exciting to watch the last lap, the
Oh.
last racing lap
yes.
today from where we were on the
There were
grandstand.
a lot of good passes in that hairpin this race. I was like, dang it.
And an Alex spin out or
Uh-huh.
DNF. Sorry.
When Alex DNF'd there, I
yes.
was like, we could have seen Alex Albon.
I do think the
Yeah.
highlight of our trip last year, or maybe not the highlight's the wrong word, but the thing that I remember every time is being hailed on and huddling underneath one umbrella with the four of us. We're like toes in. All of us are getting soaked. We're in ponchos. And
We're
there
getting
people are like
pelted.
collecting
Yeah.
hail. We're being pelted with like dime-sized hail.
Pelted. It was painful. That's what you
It
had to
was
have your feet in
painful.
because when it hurt your feet, it hurt. It hit your feet. It hurt.
Yeah, our feet were wet and we were wearing socks. It was
I got some of the worst blisters of my life
That's
that
right.
weekend because we were walking in wet socks and shoes for like 10 miles a day. It was very painful, but great weekend.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
I
feeling
have
sad.
to say. Oh, go ahead.
No, that's it.
Oh,
I'm
you're
sad.
feeling sad.
Everyone's in a funk. Everyone's in a funk.
Well, I just have to say, if you haven't gone to a race, it's always a trek to even get to the track, and then even at the track there's like more walking. And so there was like a little clip online because Charles had again
Oh, yeah.
crashed in free practice, and he had to like walk to the motorcycle even. And so like it was a really good depiction of Montreal, especially just being on this like luscious green island, and
So-
he's like making his way through the wild. I was like, this is a really good interpretation of the Montreal experience.
I also liked, what was the meme you sent the group chat that was like, when I tell my friend it's walkable?
It's just a short walk.
It's just a short walk.
Yeah.
This is anytime Grace takes any of her friends somewhere on a walk. It's just a short walk.
It's a short walk. It's super close.
I liked this chit chat around Isaac Hajar in the second Red Bull seat. That was really interesting to
Yes,
see
that's
it.
blowing up right now
Really?
Yeah.
because
I hope he
everyone's like,
doesn't
do
get
not take
it.
it.
Don't give it to him. Don't take it. Keep him far away. He's doing so good. I just feel like they're trying
Leave
to
Isaac
ruin a
alone.
good thing.
I think that's very true.
They
And
should
it
just
sucked.
eliminate the second Red Bull seat.
Yeah, that's
It's
kind of
a
honestly what
one-seat
I'm
team.
thinking.
It could be a one-seat team. Max doesn't need a teammate. They slow him down anyway.
Like, I want,
Concentrate
this
Stop.
is what
more
I
on
want.
Max, and they can build the car even more for him.
This is what I think I'm speaking for us as a pod. We want Yuki to go back to Visa Cash App, and then Liam can sit out and be some sort of
Liam's
reserve
just out.
driver.
Okay, don't speak for me, please.
Okay, she wants Liam in.
I want Liam at Red Bull. Let's watch him suffer. I'm just kidding.
Oh,
That was a joke. I mean,
okay,
I feel,
okay.
here's what I'll say. I think that if your options are not being on an F1 team and being on Red Bull as the second driver, I'd still pick Red Bull as the second driver.
Of
Although that is a
course.
very difficult choice to make because you could be like writing yourself out of an F1 career. But if
What
you are,
about...
what?
I have an
Franco.
idea. No, I have an idea. It's even better than Franco.
Danny. No.
Lance Stroll to the second Red Bull seat.
Stop.
You're
And they could get Lawrence
cruel.
Stroll sort of in as an investor, because then Lance can't complain anymore about his car sucking
You think
because he's
that's
in a really good car, theoretically.
well, no, I think he
And
still could
then,
because literally everyone has watched everyone else fail in that second seat.
but not Max. It's like you are always
Stop.
being compared to Max. You're not being compared to the last second Red Bull driver.
You're
Don't you
making
think you
like
are?
an evil
I think
team.
Yuki, like
Yes,
they're I'm making an evil team.
I'm
He's
making an
already on a
evil
team with
team.
Fernando. He doesn't he's on the evil team.
Then Fernando could get a fun teammate and they could do better.
Adrian
Honestly,
Newey owns Aston,
Yeah,
and then him and Fernando just ride into the sunset.
I was gonna say Fernando should go to Red Bull. That's the
Oh,
that's
I would like
true.
interesting,
that.
actually. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder how he would do.
I don't think Red Bull can afford Fernando.
I just
Okay.
like Fernando.
There's
He's
too
just
many
like,
lawyer fees.
stop. He's just like living out his F1 retirement. I don't know. That's how I feel.
Did he get points today?
I believe so, yeah.
I
He had a
love
good
how they
race.
kept being like, Lance Stroll, he's got a whole grandstand cheering for him.
Got a whole
I was like,
grandstand.
this is
He's
too
sort of a
dark, you
hometown
guys.
hero. Although I don't know how much time he spent here in his childhood, really.
It was
That's what
so
they were
dark.
saying.
Yeah, what else did they say about him that I was like, oh, wait, I
They were
think
like, oh, he
Alex
sat out
Jacques was
Barcelona
like,
because of his arm.
his arm, he said something hurt in his arm.
I guess it's feeling better now.
It was
Stop.
so harsh. It makes
It
you
was
be like, did they
harsh.
not like him either?
They're not allowed to say.
Mm.
Mm-mm.
Mm,
Drama.
Drama. Charles crashed in free practice. I didn't watch that. I just saw the meme of him walking around the track.
I heard him screaming from Montreal when he crashed.
Stop.
No. That team is
Well,
truly
okay.
suffering.
The team is cursed
Did you hear the newest gossip out of Ferrari?
that Fred's
No.
gonna be kicked out.
No, there was chatter about Charles allegedly being like, this might be his last year in Ferrari. And then Fred did a kind of counter thing to the rumors of like, we've changed the car, we've changed this, we've changed that, we haven't changed the driver. And I'm like, this is so
What?
crazy.
I'm obsessed.
Sources have to be verified, but the quotes are out there. So I'm like, something is leaking from the source, the main
Where would
source.
Charles go?
We
Red
don't
Bull.
know.
Red Bull. He's the second seat at Red Bull.
I'm
I
interested.
want that.
I'm interested
He wants,
in that.
you know, he's a diva. He needs to be number one. I don't know how he would pair up against Max unless Max
Yeah, I don't know.
retires. But
I well, I heard Fred is gonna leave.
I've heard that
And then
too.
people were also like, no, no, he's done a good job. But I also want to be like, it's not like Binotto did such a bad job compared to what Fred's been doing. Like, I would say equally bad strategy calls,
Mm-hmm.
equally good car, slash, this car is actually a little bit worse.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I think
Yeah.
maybe one of Ferrari's issues is actually that they don't let their team leadership stick around long enough to get better.
I kind of think so.
And they don't let them like I think team principal, you have to have like ultimate control. Like you have to be like, I get
I
to do whatever I
think
want. And I
they
think
need to
Ferrari's like, we've never done
do
it that way. No.
they need to do some sort of like corporate retreat,
Yeah.
and they need to bring in like Brene Brown or something to talk to them about like leadership styles and like,
Fearing failure.
yeah, listening to each other and
Or
like taking risks and braving the wilderness.
or Jury Duty recently is coming out with a second season, and they should
Just film
be
And
Ferrari.
and they their second season is some sort of corporate retreat. So who knows? It could have been
that would
the
be
Ferrari
very good. I
team.
would watch that. I'm
That would
sure it
be
says
better than Drive to Survive.
I feel like Ferrari corporate has to be as dysfunctional as The Office.
They could do
Yeah.
season 7 or whatever of Drive to Survive. There should be an episode where they're filming Ferrari all weekend and Ferrari thinks it's like a normal DTS
But
episode,
it's
but then
actually
they
a
do a
mockumentary
mockumentary.
style episode.
It's like the
That's
journalist style episode they did this season.
Yeah.
But yeah, mockumentary. That would be
I love that.
hilarious. I would
That
watch
would
that. I mean, there was a whole thing during the race today where Charles was talking to his engineer, and Charles was
yes.
like, no,
So
plan C. And they're
Plan
like, got
C.
it, understood. 2 laps later,
What is
they pit
this?
time to
him,
pit.
and he's like, wait, what are we doing? I said plan C. And the commentators were like, oh, I thought that they were listening to him. I guess
But
not.
actually, they're just saying, okay, we'll tell you what to do.
They're like they're not arguing down at Ferrari anymore. They're just telling him exactly what to do and it's not what he wants.
Well, it's also like, yeah, I don't know. I guess DC was speaking to that a little bit, but it does get to a point where you're like, okay, well, Charles, if your options are leave and go to another team or deal with your team completely not listening to you, I mean, you might as well do a trial of being like, I'm not coming into pit.
Maybe there's something in the
It's
contract.
What is his breaking point? Literally, figuratively. I don't know. You
Let
know?
me find out.
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
I feel like the last person to win a championship with Ferrari was Kimi Räikkönen
He did
because
whatever he wanted.
he didn't care.
He didn't care. Charles does definitely care too much. It's his greatest
It
downfall.
was wild. The choices Ferrari made were not good.
No.
I think there was a radio from Lewis that was like, brakes aren't working. I can't. And they're like, live with it, Lewis. I'm like, oh my God.
Live with it.
Shut up, Lewis.
So harsh.
Basically.
It is harsh.
It's a harsh world.
It's a harsh world. I mean, it's gotta suck seeing the Mercedes 1-2 on the podium and you're like limping in at like 7th place or whatever. I don't
Six.
even know where he finished. Was it 6th?
Six. Yeah.
Yeah. In front of Fernando Alonso in the Aston Martin.
Gosh.
Not
Yeah.
great.
Not great. Not
It's
great.
it's hell at Ferrari.
It's stop.
And they can get away with it because they're
Oh,
Ferrari. That's the
but
thing. People
do
still think
you
of them as a top tier team. They still think of them as like
stop.
the
It's
the
just
pinnacle,
pain.
the best.
Okay, but
So
do you know what
elite. They
place?
got Hamilton and they suck.
Do you know what place Stroll was in?
19th.
He did bad.
It's the
17th, but
home race
18th,
curse.
Stop.
19th, and 20th DNF'd.
No. No.
So he's literally the
He was the
last.
last. Isaac Hadjar had a
That's too
bad
sad
race
for me.
too.
I think that the Racing Bulls did not do well. Hajar was in
Yeah, well,
16th.
Liam, I forget why, but he did get a 50 place penalty for
50?
I think, yeah, because
Oh,
of
yeah, because
something.
they replaced his power unit
50?
and then his
I
power unit
believe.
failed again.
Yeah, he's got being stacked. So
He's got problems.
He's got problems.
Oh, wait, if you get a 50-place
Yeah.
grid penalty, do you have to serve that over multiple races?
No.
You just start
you
a
just at the
race
bottom.
P20.
Yeah.
Okay,
Next
okay.
P20. Don't you love that too?
Can you imagine if they were like, you have to serve that? You
Serve
have to
all
serve
50
50
of those
Go back
places.
to New Zealand and start your car and
New
meet
Zealand.
us. Meet us.
Meet us in Montreal.
You're gonna have to cross the Indian Ocean.
So qualifying, I feel like George was just elated. He was so happy.
He was
He was
high,
stoked.
if I
Didn't he
may
say
be so
he got
bold.
chills after he finished the race? It was the first time he's ever
Yes.
gotten
I was like,
chills after his
Grace must
qualifying lap.
be happy? Question mark. I couldn't tell. Or cringed out. I don't know.
Me?
You're kind of our George fan of this podcast.
Literally. Okay, I talked to mom yesterday, like last night, and she was like,
The face
I
Grace has made.
hate George. I was like, whoa, strong sentiment. I mean, you know what? I saw something on Tumblr that I liked where a girl was basically like, George is definitely a tattletale, and he's probably your like least favorite kid in class, and he's annoying. But do I want to see him beat some other kids? Yes, I do. And that's kind of how I feel about George. It's
The
like
good
it
thing
is
about
fun to
George-
watch him like egg on Max.
Well, they egg each other on. They're both tattletales. They're
Yes.
both the annoying kids. So
Yes.
it's fine when they're fighting each other because I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah.
Hit each other. I dare you. I want to see it. And today was a good race.
Yeah.
I think they just
It's-
ended it being like, thank God a McLaren is not in this room with
Yeah.
us. That was the energy. So it's like, yeah, sure, whatever.
I always enjoy it when Max can't back it up. When Max can back it up, he's insufferable.
Yeah, I agree. We just
But
didn't have
when-
it today. Second place is fine. Like
Second place is fine. Did you hear
Yeah.
all the stuff about him complaining about people being like,
well,
there's
okay.
1 point left on your license and you and George are
Yeah, he
together
hates
again? And
that.
he was
He
like, don't ask
hates
me that
it.
question anymore.
He
I'm a
hates
mature
it.
guy.
I'm not going to speak on that
Um,
anymore. I'm a father now.
Well, okay,
Not
there's
on my day.
extra things. There was like a pre-interview thing where they're like, they're interviewing George, being like, have you seen or talked to Max since the race, since the crash of last weekend, 2 weekends ago? And he was like, well, actually, I saw him at the airport. I was behind him. And he was with his family. So it was like as if I was standing behind this whole family trying to get all their stuff through the airport. I was annoyed and I almost went to the other line. And I think he's just being cheeky with Max. And he basically is like, that's just how it is between us when we get heated. But during the race, the last couple laps of the race where the safety car was out, it was funny. There was like some radio exchange where there was aggressive braking from George that Max had
Yes.
reported. And then George was like, Max was trying to overtake me. And thus, since post race, the teams have lobbied like
For
investigations.
penalties.
Yeah.
Yes. Because wasn't
Let's
George
give
like,
them
Max
both a
overtook me under the safety car?
They're such babies. Well, and I'm like,
Give
well,
them both penalties and give Kimmy the front.
yeah, give him
Kimmy
Give
the win.
Kimmy the win.
Give Kimmy the win. He deserves it.
Yeah, so I'm like, it's confusing because all that happens. I'm like, okay, I think the teams are behind this, but then you see the cool down room and you're like, I think they're
No,
fine, right? They're fine.
George and Max?
In the cool down room, you're like, this is
I think they're
real.
like, let's talk about
cordial.
the experience being in the car. Let's talk about what we have in common. They're like,
Let's talk about the last
they're only doing
2
safe
seconds.
subjects. They're talking about what happened between the McLarens. Were you managing on this turn? Like, how were your tires? They're not
Shop
getting
work.
into anything
Well,
else.
I feel like those two also are never actually, okay. I think George is never gonna have an interaction with Max that's like an Ocon style interaction. Like George
He's scared of
will
him.
talk some smack, but then when they're in person, he'll be like, "No, good race though." Like he won't
That
back it
was
up.
He's
chilling. That
classy.
was chilling.
I
Like,
will say,
but like Esteban is so unhinged. Esteban's like, "Let's physically fight," and Max is like, "Okay."
there was a little part of me that when Max was making, or when George was making those comments about Max at the airport, like jokey, I'm like, oh, this man wants to die. Like
I
he,
do think that sometimes.
I'm like,
Yes.
Max will murder you. You know this. You're not scared of him, but I would be scared.
But you should be.
But I think you should be, George. Yeah, so he was very, I guess, he definitely showed up for the qualifying, and then that translated into a
It
race
is
win. So
in defense of George, like enjoyable to watch someone like it seemed like he really felt like good and like he was like, I really put this lap together and like to watch someone kind of be in there, in that flow state, like
In
I
his
enjoy
power.
that. Yeah,
not the
he's in his
flow state.
power. He's in a flow
He
state, Shelley. Don't
was
laugh at
in
me.
his power when he came on the podium and was jumping like a little toy. A
Like a
little
toy, like a toy soldier.
I was imagining Woody from Toy Story, and he was like
He should go as Woody for Halloween
He
this
does have the
year.
got the
body for
body
it.
type.
Body type for Woody. Honestly, when are we gonna
Body is
get some
tea.
F1 Halloween content? Because I would love that. Also, okay, here was one of my favorite things from the race. You know how there was that huge TV screen in front of the grandstand we were in last year?
I
Did
know where you're
anyone
going.
notice? Yes, how they were showing F1 movie
On a
ads
loop.
during the race?
No,
Yeah.
what
I
I
was like, that's not
believe,
actually what's showing. I think they just
And
do that on TV.
Las Vegas
yes,
ads. A lot of Vegas
yes.
content.
I don't mind that. That's more okay with me.
Okay, I guess we have to get into the McLaren of it all. My nightmare.
The McLaren of it all.
This is what Anne has been warning us about for months. The
Well,
McLarens crashing, taking points off each other.
Obsessed. I loved it. And then Lando immediately being like, this was my fault.
This was my fault. We love a
Stupid.
conscientious king. He knew it was his fault, and he was right. It was his
I mean,
fault.
he ran into the back
oh
of
my
his teammate's
God.
car.
There are plenty of drivers who would have done the exact same move and said, he brake checked me. He didn't leave me
Yes.
room.
That's
He
true.
made me hit the barrier.
He
He
didn't leave me
made
any
me do
room.
that.
I think Max literally did that last weekend.
Give
When he
this
was
guy a
sim
penalty.
racing.
Give this guy a penalty. He's on your team.
It was really exciting racing though before that little moment. Great racing. I do
Holy
think
moly.
Oscar would have kept Lando behind. Although maybe with on the last 3 laps, maybe Lando could have gotten him. I'm not sure, but
He was so close because he
was
passed him
getting
for like half a
close.
second.
he did. Yeah, he did.
There was like the quick snapshot of his race engineer being like, go get him with your DRS, Lando. And I think that kind of, I don't think that like egged him on, but I definitely think he saw the opportunity. And it was wild how long the battle was. I could not believe it.
It was like half the track.
Yeah. And
Also-
Kimi in the cool down room being cheeky, being like, I didn't know which McLaren to give the slipstream to, so I went in the middle. He is crazy, and he kept behind.
Yeah, he kept Piastri behind.
Yeah, I give him
Yes.
that. And he got the move on him in the beginning. So
He finally won a driver of the day that he truly deserved.
Deserved. I
I
voted for
voted
him
for
driver of the
him.
day.
As you
We
should have.
voted.
He was the driver of the day today,
Yeah.
for sure. Although poor George probably wanted that, but he didn't get it.
Well, try being more likable, George.
Try being a rookie
Aw,
again. It's more
stop.
fun. I do think I don't know if you guys noticed this, but once again, I noticed a lot of anti-Oscar, but sort of anti-Oscar sentiment from
But
the
actually, yes,
commentators.
anti-Oscar.
But
Oh,
actually was
that's new.
anti-Oscar.
Okay, who
It
do you
was
think's
like
What did
anti-Oscar?
you
Tell
hear?
us.
What did you hear?
DC, I
Report
think.
them.
And Alex. They're all like seems like
It's
Oscar's
the
sort of on
it's
the
the
back foot this
UK.
weekend. Looks
Okay,
like
but he
Lando's like
was kind of on
really
the back foot.
performing well. Yeah, but also he was
I don't
ahead
think
of
Lando was
Lando.
performing well.
That's the
I think he
thing.
was
It's
also on the
like
back foot.
they're saying that I think McLaren in general was on the back foot. Maybe this wasn't their track, I don't know. But they're like, see, Lando seems to be the higher performing McLaren this weekend. And I'm like, where? Where is Lando performing
Okay.
higher
But
from
Lando, if
P7?
he hadn't crashed, he could have passed Oscar. Because Lando at least went up the grid
But
and
Lando did
Piastri went
crash, and it
down.
was his fault.
Yeah,
You
that's
gotta
true.
weigh it out. Yeah, you can't.
Oscar
He's
doesn't
fast,
crash.
but he crashes. What else? Uh,
I love Lando as much as many people, not all people, but I just feel like the commentators often are like, Lando seems to be the number one McLaren driver this weekend, and then Oscar is like winning the race. And I'm like,
Yeah.
they
why
don't
are
know
we
what to do
saying
with
that?
themselves because Lando was supposed to be the golden boy this year, and guess what? He's not. And I think McLaren is also freaking out because they're like, if Lando was number one this year, they could be like, let him through, but now he's not. So it's
Now
They
just
have
he's
like,
to let
really
their
not.
drivers
They were
race.
yeah,
about to be very close to each other
seriously.
in the Constructors'
Yeah.
Championship, and now they're
What are
very
they going
far
to
apart.
do? Yeah. It's going to really come down to more of that happening and what are they going to say? Like, because I mean, part of it last year, granted, like some of the things were different, but and it was towards the end of the season where they were like, well, we are going to prioritize Lando now because he is the greatest chance of being world champion if we over Oscar. But now,
So at what
are they going
point
to
do they
say the
start
same about Oscar?
prioritizing Oscar?
I
Who
don't know if
knows?
that's going to happen. Yeah.
At least
So
he didn't take Oscar out with him. Could have been really bad,
Yeah.
right?
I
Could have been a
think
real victory for
everyone
MB,
else.
for Maxi.
Yeah. No, it was crazy.
I thought you
It
said
And
was
MB, Mercedes Benz. I was like, I guess that's how we could refer to them.
Yeah, classically known as MB. I noticed I've never called Max by his initials before, and it didn't feel right coming out, so I won't do that again. I won't do that.
ew.
It was a really rough day for Alex Albon, who had a good qualifying.
They just like his strategy,
Really
that was
bad
so bad.
strategy, and then
Carlos got up there
yeah.
Carlos had good strategy.
because of good
hmm
strategy.
hmm
Wait, we didn't even talk about the engine cover coming off
That
in
was
That was
amazing.
qualifying.
crazy in like Q1, and then they fixed
So
it.
bad. Yeah, I was saying that they got some money now because I feel like in the past they
They would
would
have been
have been
like,
out.
we're
That's the
out.
last one.
That's the last cover we have.
Unless
It
somebody
reminded
borrows
me,
one to
it looked
us.
like that episode of The Office where Dwight cuts the face off the mannequin.
Oh my
And
gosh,
it's just
wait.
like it's just bare
Yeah.
mannequin.
There's
That's
that
what the
one
car looked like.
the Batman movie with that guy who got his face
Yes.
melted off. Yeah, I was like, this is what the
Face
car
off.
looks like.
Face
The
off.
guts are out. That's what I said.
The guts are out.
Oh. Oh,
Unhinged.
random thing. Apparently, Lewis crashed into a groundhog around lap 13. And I swore I saw something on the track. And I'm like, is that a dead groundhog? And it's been confirmed.
A
We did
dead
not we
groundhog.
did not see that last year.
They should fine him for that.
No.
Stop. They can't be dodging groundhogs. They could get into a real accident.
You just gotta
Yeah, but you could still
go
fine
straight
him.
through them.
Find the groundhog.
Yeah, fine the groundhog for trespassing on the track.
On his homeland.
It was really fun to watch all the spectators rush the track after the race because
Because
we
we
did
did
that last year.
that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh. Oh my gosh, I remember that. That was so fun.
We
Ugh.
didn't go through a hole, but we went through, I think they eventually opened up like a gap at the
Where they let
hairpin.
Alex's car off.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, that's where
of
we went into
That's
last
course.
where we
year.
went into the
We could have
racetrack.
seen Alex's car.
That's what I'm
We
saying.
could have touched
We
him.
could have touched the butt.
But instead, last year, I got a glimpse of Liam and Danny Rick. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah, we have been trying to decide what race we want to go to next. We have a lot of ideas. So if you have an idea for what race you think we should go to, that's
Yeah.
um
I'm feeling very
accessible
sad
and
about not
fun.
going to a race. That's what I was gonna say.
I can't really afford to do it every year, but maybe every few years. So
Yeah.
let us know in the comments what race we should go to
Yeah,
and
which
why.
race is next?
I'm voting for Suzuka. That's my vote, but that's a big swing. It's a big swing, I know.
Singapore.
That's an even bigger swing.
Okay. That
Anything
was
else? What's
Montreal.
next?
I'm
Is there a
worried
race
for
next week?
Williams. Williams needs to pull it
I'm worried as
together.
well. I'm deeply worried.
I'm concerned.
The tides are
Um,
turning.
in 2 weeks, we have Austria,
That's right.
and then we'll be in Europe for a little while.
Okay.
We'll be in RVs traveling through Europe. Yeah,
Not us, but the boys,
the
the
boys and
teams.
We
us
could
in
be there.
spirit. If
Little,
anybody wants to hook
wait,
us up with a press pass, we will be there.
We
I will quit
could
my
make it
job.
happen.
because guess what?
I'm working, but I could quit.
We also Sarah and I watched a little bit of F1 Academy, and we would be down
Yes.
to go for that too.
I'm ready to
Yes.
cover F1
Would
Academy.
love to cover F1 Academy. The show was great. It was not perfect, but it was really fun to watch. And yeah, it was enjoyable. Definitely becoming a fan of Dorian Pa? Does that
Yeah,
sound right?
That's
do the
it.
pronunciation
Dorian Pa?
at Le Mans.
At Le Mans?
Stop. They had their first race this year in Montreal, and I saw Chloe Chambers got first place. P2 was Dorian, and then third place was the McLaren driver. She's newer. I forgot her name.
Who's
but
Chloe
Mm.
Chambers racing for this year? Is she racing for Red Bull?
I think it is Red
I
Bull.
think it is Red Bull, which is
Yeah.
awesome. She was with Haas last year.
Yeah.
That's a
Making
fun,
moves.
yeah, that's great to see.
Maybe
Yeah.
she should take
Really
the Red Bull seat.
Honestly, yeah,
give
Yeah.
it to her.
absolutely. Give it to her. Why not? See what she can do.
Let's see what she
Let's
can
get something
do.
interesting happening.
Although I think that could also be, then people are like, and that's why women can't drive in F1. And you're like, well,
We're
no
trying to
man
end
could
on
drive
a
it.
happy
Oh,
note.
sorry.
Men
Sorry.
can't
But
drive either.
men just
The
ruin
men can't
everything.
drive either.
Yeah, that's a
Yay.
good point. So maybe not. Okay. But highly recommend watching it. And we'll
Netflix, if
see
you want to
you.
give us like a free
Yeah.
pass so we could watch it.
Yeah. We'll see you next time in Austria.
Yay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.